we chose the name of this, we were talking about like, what should it be named? And I decided on the true value of your voice, because that is what this is. I want everybody out there to learn the value of your voice and the price of your impact. There's people on this call right now who can testify to just hearing me one time has changed their life, right? Friday at the presentation I did, I had one of the people that were in our audience basically get up and say, hey, I went to Evelyn's summit in 2022 and my entire life has changed. It literally sent me on this spiral that has changed my life. So let me ask you, she went from a home provider to now owning her own childcare center to believing she can. So what is the price of my impact on that one person's life, right? That is huge. You can't put a price on that. So do I deserve to get paid for giving her my knowledge? I do. I absolutely do. And I'm going to stand by my value. I'm going to stay true to me and to the work it took for me to get to the point that I have a message to share with the world. Because it took me years of a lot of struggle and a lot of learning to be where I am today. And that is very valuable. And for each one of you who have your message, it's the same thing. You're in the same position that I'm in. So I want to introduce myself for those of you who don't know me. There were so many people. I made so many new Facebook friends last week over this because there was a lot of people who were referred to me just off that one social media post. It ended up all over the place. I was getting messages on LinkedIn, Instagram, even on TikTok, I was getting messages, and even my WhatsApp. I was like, wow, I never use this thing. It's only WhatsApp is going crazy. So my name is Evelyn Knight. I am the host of the Child Care Business Coach podcast, and I am a speaker for early child education. I told you guys earlier, I speak on behalf of widows, women standing in their power. I am a 2-time TED Talk speaker. That is a tongue twister. I've done 2 TED Talks at this point, and I'm hoping to get my 3rd. It's looking good for my 3rd. And just last week alone, I spoke for over 4,500 people. Just last week. So I have a very strong and powerful voice for mainly children and women. And I really believe in standing in my power, but it wasn't always that way. If you would have known me 5 years ago, I think you might be surprised at the person I am today. Oops, sorry. I don't know. My Canva just went off track. I wasn't always, I'm going to stop sharing since my Canva decided to stop presenting. But I wasn't always this person I am today, right? If you would have known me only 7 years ago, I was nothing like this. I was actually very overweight. I was very upset, not happy with my life. I wasn't in a good place. And it's not, I always like to premise, it's not the weight or anything like that. It was more a condition of my life and where I was at the time, right? And I just wasn't the person I am now. I didn't know how to stand my power. I didn't know my value. I didn't know my worth like I do today. And so it was through this journey of learning who I really am that I've been able to stand up for my convictions, stand in my power, and stand up for who I am. I'm looking really quick. I'm going to actually show you guys a picture. Oh, never mind. It's not. You guys can find them in social media. I was going to put this and forgot in the presentation. Again, this was a very quick, I'm going to do this. And so I didn't have a whole lot of time to prepare this. I just thought I'm going to go with it. This was meant to be. And when I know something is meant to be, I just go with it. But just to put it in perspective, I once weighed 160 pounds more than I do today, right? And when I really started seeing who I am in the mirror and understood my value, every aspect of my life changed. Every aspect, including the fact that I'm no longer 300 pounds. So the power of understanding your value and the power of understanding that every one of you has an important story that the world needs to hear, it will change your entire life. not just the people you're speaking to. And as it changes your lives, you can go out and change others and empower them to have a better life and to just stand in their own power. So let's see if we can get our Canva to work again correctly. So what did I discover? I discovered that being a mom doesn't define me. Being a business owner doesn't define me. Being a TED Talk speaker does not define who I am. Those are all things I accomplished, and those are all labels that I have. But who am I really? This is who I am. I am an intelligent, I'm powerful. I'm a compassionate, radiant, joyful woman. And I was born to create empowerment, safety, and freedom throughout the world. I am the creator of my circumstance and my life. I am a woman who lives intentional. I live a life of purpose. And why is that important? Why would I even bring that up, right? First of all, because if you're somebody who is giving away your intellectual property and you're speaking for free, you don't see yourself. You don't know who you are. You still see yourself with those labels that the world has put on you. You still look in the mirror and you see yourself as a friend, maybe a sister, a brother, maybe a husband or a wife, but you don't see you. Those are labels, but who are you? When you really start to see yourself, you realize that you're worthy. You're way more worthy than working for free. And your voice is important. And the world needs your voice. The world needs you. And there are people, and even if you just save that one person that needs your voice, it's worth it. Absolutely worth it. So one of the things I realized years ago is that people, especially in the childcare industry, right? Those of you childcare center owners here, you guys can relate to this. But a lot of times, because we're not giving away a tangible service, sometimes people don't like paying for it, right? How many of us childcare center people have had collection issues? You've taken care of somebody's child, now they have a bill, they don't want to pay it. And then we are just like, if you're in our industry, you know, it's just like this, God, but they're struggling and they're really having a hard time. And it's so hard to make them pay. Well, would that same family ever decide to walk into Target, fill their cart and walk out the door without paying? Most people don't even have the audacity to think that way. But when you have a service that isn't concrete and tangible, that isn't an inanimate object, we don't always see the value in its worth. But to be honest, there's a lot more worth in what we do. Taking the childcare industry, for example, some of the children we care for are with us more than they are with their parents. I know in my center, there's children with us 50 to 60 hours a week, right? So the love that we're pouring into them is way more valuable than the car their parents drive. The fact that I know that my words have changed people's lives, have pulled people out of really bad places, is worth more than the house they live in. So are my words when I'm speaking worth money? Absolutely. In our society, we trade. We live in a trade society, right? We have a good or a service and we trade it for money. That's how we work. That's exactly what we do. Your intellectual property, your life experiences, and the knowledge that you gained that you're sharing with the world is a product that you are asking to trade for monetary value. It does have just as much value as somebody's car. So don't sell yourself short. So what am I going to bring to you? So as I create this program for you, I sat down and thought, okay, what do people really need to learn? For the most part, many of you, if the people who are already interested in what I'm doing, you have already been presenting, or you are on social media presenting. I know I've had people with podcasts interested, a bunch of different people, but for the most part, you already know how to create, right? You know how to create a presentation. That isn't the part that people seem to be struggling with. The part that people seem to be struggling with is the business side, of course. It seems like what we always end up struggling with, right? So this is what I'm going to bring. I'm going to help you to learn how to set up your for-profit speaking business by helping you to create contracts, and that will help you to enforce being paid and having a contract, how to price your talks, whether you're doing a workshop, just a quick training, or an actual keynote speaking. How do you price that? How do you create a menu for it, right? How do you even get that out there? How do you create you as a brand, turning your talks into a brand, really staying thematic on that, helping you pick a theme. If for my early childhood education people here, many of you are talking to a very niched down audience, which is great, but I am going to also help you I'm going to help you do two things. I am going to help you niche it down and broaden that niche, right? Because some of you are too niche down when I look at your profile, and then some of you are too broad. So we're going to help you learn how to zero that in so that you're really marketable. Because bottom line, that is going to be the biggest thing I'm going to help you with, is learn how to make yourself marketable. That is huge. You've got to learn how to make yourself marketable. How to create your pipeline. How do you have a consistent pipeline? How do you really learn how to get these speaking engagements and keep your calendar going? I am completely booked right now until March of next year. March of next year, I'm booked. So how do you do that? How do you just keep that flow going, right? I just closed my books for February today. Just got my final booking for February. I'm done. So how do you have that where you just become an in-demand speaker that people are willing to pay? That's what we're going to help you with. And then the other things that you may not know you need, like what techniques do you need? The technology, right? You may not even know that you can request these things, but you can. As long as you tell them ahead of time, you don't like holding microphone, ask for a lapel. There's different ways you go about all of this, and you put it in your contracts. Insurance. Did you know you need insurance to be a public speaker? You really need to have insurance. So for things like insurance, I'll have like my guest speakers come in with my connections to help empower you. I will show you, the next thing is creating a profitable business. How do you find paid speaking engagements within your niche? How do you put yourself out there? Where are these engagements? When to speak for free and when not to, and you're never really speaking for free, right? Unless you want to do it for a charity. Like I really believe in my Nevada AEYC, so I will go present for any NevAC for free. Because of what the work NACI does. And then that's another great example of speaking for free, but not really. If you're speaking for a organization that is like NACI, that is very well respected, they're worth going, even though I say that with like some resistance. I am speaking for National NACI in November, so hopefully you'll be there, Prina. You're not going to be there this year? That was like one of the things I was like, I'll go because Prina will be there.
No, not this time, because I spoke last year, and yeah, not this time.
When they approached me to come, I just was like, oh, Prina will be there. So
that's sweet. I opted out this time.
So really just fixing, oh, yay, Jasmine, you'll be there. Awesome. We can meet in person. So yeah, speaking for different organizations, but if you're speaking for a private organization that's a for-profit company, they should be paying you. If you're presenting, they should be paying you. Absolutely. So know your audience. When I go to NACI, I will get a lot of exposure. They've asked me to come, so I'll have advertising and different things that they're also giving me. So to a certain extent, I am getting paid in like form of free advertising, right? So those types of things. So I never really speak for free. Right. Even if I'm not getting a check, I am getting something. And Macy's a great example. If I'm not, I'm getting their advertising instead of a lot of other vendors are paying for advertising. Well, that's my trade-off. So you're never really going to just give away your product. Know your worth. Creating a profitable business is really understanding your market. For example, when I am speaking for early education, the price difference is going to be very different than I just got a speaking and engagement I booked this morning. Oh my gosh, it's like Women's Entrepreneurs International or something. So your prices are going to be very different there. My prices can range anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000, right? So knowing your audience and understanding. Let's see, where was I? You're free with the forms knowing your worth and understanding your expenses and budgeting in any business. Doesn't matter what the business is. This is a new, like for your business, right? Any business that you do, you need to understand the financials behind a business. Number one reason people go bankrupt, and public speaking is not cheap. So it's something you need to be very aware of. Another thing I was just thinking that is in my master course that I've been putting together for you guys is not only understanding the expenses of budgeting, but understanding like just the business behind it, right? Just the general, this is an industry. Are you going to create a separate company? Are you bringing it into your company that is existing already? My Evelyn Knight's official is its own brand. It's not part of Childcare Business Professionals. So it's just a separate company, although does Childcare Business Professionals benefit from it? Absolutely. And it depends on where I speak. Like for NACCE, for example, Childcare Business Professionals is going, CCBP is going getting the advertising. So CCBP will be what I represent there. But when I go speak for the Entrepreneurial Women International, that is Evelyn Knight Official's company, right? So there's different companies. We'll talk about that when, and I'm not a lawyer, so I can't give you a lawyer, but I can tell you just from a business perspective, when do you start a different company? When do you not? All of those things. And maybe we'll try and get a guest speaker in that can really speak to you on that. And then to me, the most important part is understanding the mental component of public speaking because it's huge. Anybody, any venture, you guys think of anything you have started in your entire life, anything. There is a mental component to it that none of us anticipated, right? And that mental component can be what either makes you or breaks you in any business. So whenever I teach anything, some of you guys here are my clients or were my clients, and you guys know I'm always going to be on that mental part of it, because if you can't overcome the mental part and the mindset part, it's not going to be long-term. And whenever I do anything, I don't want to waste your money. I'm going to help you find long-term results. So we are going to talk about the mental piece. Absolutely. My education background in psychology just kind of calls me to that all the time anyway. So the mental piece is very important. Standing in your power, always stand in your power, know who you truly are. I want you guys to look in the mirror and see you, the real you, not the you that says, yeah, well, I don't know. I don't think my experience is enough. Always going to have an excuse until you stand in your power. The energy component. Oh my goodness. Was this a hard lesson for me to learn about public speaking? I could not understand why I was so exhausted. And for those of you guys who've spoken on larger stages, you guys know, even presenting, right? Sometimes the small crowds that you present for are exhausting. But this weekend after, I was fine. Like I literally presented Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday this week. Saturday was the smallest. I mean, it was just the preschool teacher, like Zoo, and we opened up Zoo for me to present for just teachers locally and my own staff and everything. So it was a very small, intimate group, and I know them all. It's not a big deal, right? The minute I walked out and I was done, I was exhausted, like to the point that I had to go home and I was non-functional for the rest of the day. So understanding the energy it takes and what it does to you. Yeah, I agree. For me, smaller crowds, you put me in a crowd of 2,000 people and I am less tired than the 25. Crazy. But understanding that is a big deal, because when you're planning your schedule and understanding how to balance your life is such a big, important deal. When you're planning your schedule, you need to make sure that you're planning for that. I will never do 4 days in a row again. I'll tell you that right now. Giving yourself those breaks is so important, and understanding how much energy it takes out of you. Why does it take the energy out of you? How can you protect your energy? How do you keep that level up? Because if you don't, you're going to burn out. And so really just protecting yourself ahead of time is vitally, vitally important. When you're sharing a big piece of yourself like this. Burnout prevention, there's more to it than just that. Traveling can be tiring too. I love to travel, but sometimes it gets tiring to be out of town all the time, you know, and you miss home. And the confidence, right? The other thing I missed on here that I should have put on here is the life balance, understanding life balance. I've seen some of the speakers I know, and they're always on the road, they're always traveling, and they're not happy. And when I really talk to them and ask them, like, how are you really doing? And we have these behind the scenes talks with each other, they're not happy. They're exhausted. They're like, I just have to keep going. I just have to keep going. And when you tell yourself things like, I just have to keep going, then why do it? I mean, life is meant to be full of joy and happiness, right? Yeah, planning for travel times is a lesson on its own, right? That maybe that's a module we should add. Like, how do you even plan the travel? Because man, can it get expensive, but you don't want to go cheap either, because you don't want to be too tired. So I've learned a lot about that too, and just giving yourself time. Really standing by your worth too is knowing, like, I turn down so many things. I don't say yes to hardly, probably, gosh, I turn down more than I say yes to. And I really bide my time now. But the funny thing about that is it's made me more valuable. People will pay more to hear me and to get me there, because I don't go that much anymore. I next year especially, I decided not doing this next year. I'm still speaking, but not nearly as often. And it's kind of funny, because as I pulled back, people are willing to pay me more. Go figure, right? You increase your value when you're not so available. So we'll talk about all things like that. Think about it. People want what they can't have. So once you make it a little bit harder, suddenly they want you more. So, and then the confidence factor. I know when we started out this call, Julie, I'm going to kind of pick on you a little bit here, because one of the first things is like, I don't know if you can consider what I've done speaking. Yes. I don't care if it's been for Toastmasters, it's speaking, right? So that's the kind of thing when I say stand in your power, have that confidence, own what you've done. If you stood in a room full of adults in your church, whatever, you have spoken, and give yourself credit for it. Absolutely. Give yourself credit. So the confidence factor, just building up your confidence, knowing that you're okay, because that is hard. That's one of the toughest. I think, Prina, you've spoken on some pretty big stages too. Sometimes it's tough. You get in front of all the people, you're like,
you're right. The bigger stages, I think, feel more freeing and also scary at the same time. I
yeah,
will tell you, I still get butterflies in my tummy walking up,
me
but
too.
it's the anticipation. But once you have a rapport with the crowd, then it's a whole other joy at a different level. And that's what keeps me going every time. It's like, oh my God, I want more of that. That was such a beautiful connection. So I think the
Yeah.
why kicks in, the joy kicks in, and the why you do what you do.
Yeah.
I honestly don't feel like I work a single day in my life, because I love what I do. So I'm super passionate about it. So
And that's how I wanted to stay. I
yeah,
know I've been talking
exactly.
to a lot of people, especially since I put that post up. I have a lot of people who are out saying, I'm just exhausted and I'm not getting paid for it. And it should be joyful. It should, and I agree with you 100%, Prina. When you're done and people come to you and say, oh my gosh, you changed my life, it makes it so worth it. And it is such a great career to have, you guys. It is such a beautiful career,
It's
because
humbling and it's rewarding and it's meaningful and it's of service. And I think if we can change one heart, one mind, it's worth it. You know,
yeah,
it just makes it worth it. But these are several learned lessons along the way. And I think when we learn from each other, it helps with the learned lessons. So
Oh,
we don't
Shalyn, I love, Shalyn wrote, my training business name is Joy in the Chaos. I absolutely love that. That is amazing. Oh, and Shalyn, you have such a beautiful, amazing story. And who better to tell that story than you, right? With what you've lived through, who better? So some of the other things is just there's so many other avenues that open up for you too. And when it comes to monetizing your speech, your speaking engagements and your speech, that we will definitely touch on, is not just making money from what you get contracted for, but making money off of other opportunities, right? Because to be honest with you, you will make more of an income off of other revenue streams that you can put into your speaking than you will off of the speaking engagements themselves. Especially if you're an early childhood speaker, there's more monetization in that, right? But even as an early child, you should still be getting paid every time you go out. I'm sorry, but I could not believe the organization that told me, and there are some amazing women that did not get paid to be where I was that day. I was blown away. So I also think it's very important for us to remember, we unite and we're all charging, then these people have no choice but to pay us, right? If none of us are doing this for free, then they have to start showing the respect that we deserve. So that's also a very important thing. And you should really be showing yourself the respect that you deserve. You deserve so much more than giving away your intellectual property, because it takes work to get that. So I just cannot stress that enough. And the world needs what you have. And none of us can do it for free, right? We all need to make a living. So I'm actually going to pause here before I move on. Do you guys have any questions, anything so far as I'm going through this? Oh, I like that. My education Q&A, education consultants. Any other questions, ladies, gentlemen? And then again, you guys can always message them to me if you don't. So this is something pretty new to me. And like I told you, I know when things are meant to be, they just come very effortlessly. When I really toyed with, am I really going to do this? I sat down and I had an entire 3-month curriculum just like that. It was so easy. It just flowed out of me. So I knew that the inspiration that was coming meant that I meant to do this. And I'm supposed to bring this to the world. So I will show you, since everybody on here already is probably an entrepreneur, let's just get to the meat of it. So this is what the program is going to entail. It is a 3-month long program. We'll be meeting the first and third Wednesdays of every month, starting in November from 1:15 to 2:45 via Zoom, and recordings will be provided. We're doing 90-minute sessions each time, because I will present for an hour. I'll teach you whatever that lesson is, and then we're going to do a 30-minute office session along with it. So basically what I'll do is have you guys pre-submit any questions that you're working on. I'll have you ask questions during that 30 minutes, and we'll work through anything. And it may turn into more like 45 minutes and 45 minutes, depending on the content. Some things are a lot easier to get through than others. And my introductory price on this is going to be just a flat $500. That's it. I decided you guys are my beta group. And so I just like, you know what, I'm going to make this cheap. I'm going to make it easy. And for all of us, just simple and cheap. So it's just $500. I highly doubt it's going to stay that way, because my financial advisor was not happy with this price. But it is my first time doing this. And like I said, I just decided to start doing this. So we're starting in November, and it will be the first, I think it's the 1st of November, right, ladies? My team. Okay. And we'll cover everything you guys need to know. The one thing I do not have in my curriculum, which if we get enough that people who want it, we can extend it. It will have an additional cost, and I'll have to get with my team, is how to speak. That's the one thing that if I have enough of a need, we can continue on with it. but like just how do you present yourself, like even virtually, right? If you get virtual speaking engagements, which we will be talking about that too, how do you present virtually? How do you do the slides? How do you, that is the one thing I do not have in there, but if we have enough of a demand, we can definitely start like a part 2 and do all of that too. For the most part, many of the people who are approaching me are already out there. You're already creating presentations. So most of you don't need that portion. So we'll just go down that road when it comes. But I've gotten a lot of messages today about that part of it, about the body language and all of that, because it's a lot and you don't even think about it. But it is a lot to know how to use your body and keep people watching you, because it gets boring, right? When we've all been in front of that person talking to, you're like, when are they going to be done? So there is an art to that too. So do you guys have any questions, any comments, anything? Let's see, somebody's coming in. Anything we can answer for you guys? It looks like my team did put the link in the chat. So if you guys are ready, go for it. I can guarantee you when I do this, I'm thinking I'll probably do this twice a year. If the demand is there, it will not be this cheap. Again, there's pretty much nothing I do for only 500 bucks these days because I know my worth. Stephanie, do you have a question?
Yeah, pretty simple question. I did not write down when you said the dates are, and I don't see them on the first page of the website, but if they're in there, I can dig deeper. Or if you can,
they're going to be the first and third Wednesday of every month. And I know
almost it's almost because of holidays.
Okay.
Do you want me to share the actual dates?
That would be awesome. Can you put them in the chat?
Absolutely. I will type them. It's two Wednesdays each month for November, December, January. Here comes the date.
Okay, thank you, Mandy. And then my team we will have Google Meets that go out with all the links and everything. So you guys can put them on your calendar, not Google Meets, but the Google Calendar invitations. So you get them in your calendar. We'll have all of this for you in email. But yeah, it'll be, and again, if you can't make that time, everything will be recorded. We will put everything in a recording for you as well. You will get the recordings and all the handouts. So even if you attend all of them, you're still going to get the recordings. So if that's something you guys are interested in, definitely sign up now. Once it starts, we won't be taking any people in. And as this really moves forward, it definitely isn't going to stay this cheap.
It sounds really interesting.
Really does. You definitely need to get on some stages, and it's time. You've got a huge following now. You've got you're killing it on YouTube and everywhere. Yep. So it's time.
Yeah, that's my goal. And I was thinking to kind of like pivot from the businesses that I like collaborated with locally, that they could sponsor me to cover the fees for this program.
That's a great idea. And that is something we'll talk about. Like, are you a nonprofit? Because you could probably get, as a nonprofit, you could probably get a lot of sponsorships, or do you want to stay you could probably still get sponsorships even if you have a for-profit business. You wouldn't have a problem. I know your product. You would be fine. You could do it. And I think like as you get on stages, you could probably get some national sponsors. And that's the other thing we'll talk about, you guys. How do you get sponsors? Right now, ProCare is one of my big sponsors. They kind of follow me around, and they're it's something that's pretty new to me. But ProCare started sponsoring a lot of the things I do. So they pay organizations to have me. And then so it kind of goes a roundabout, right? Like if I get to speak somewhere, ProCare is paying them as a sponsor. And then that opens a budget for other people. So I'm more likely to get booked places if ProCare is saying, hey, I'll give you a couple $1,000s, but we want her as your speaker. So it's little things like that that really help you to monetize and to really just push. And those are the things I'll teach you on. How do you get this kind of attention? How do you get those companies to back you? Different things like that.
And I think your information, your overall knowledge that you have when you and I first met and we did a video together, that opened me up to other childcare development owners, and I reached out to them, and I've done podcasts with other childhood development owners to kind of see the similarities and differences. And
Yeah.
so, you know, for you to tell me, hey, you know, it's time now, David, you have things, you know, just gives me more encouragement
Yes.
to reach out to local businesses and local people to be like, hey, you know, I'm starting this program. Would you like to be a sponsor of me and this thing that I'm building, so that when I'm doing these corporate events, your business name could be kind of connected with
Mhm.
whatever I'm doing. So I'm kind of
Yeah.
trying to use my strengths
Right.
and kind of turn them into something.
For
So
affiliate marketing is huge. If you guys know who Pat Flynn, Shalene Johnson, some of the bigger names in the podcasting world, like 80% of their income comes from affiliate marketing. So it's huge on giving you extra revenue streams. And even for things like this, you guys, you can go to, if you already have a voice out there, you can go to different people who are willing to sponsor you and say, hey, I am looking at taking a course that's going to teach me how to get on stages throughout the country. If you come with it, help me, you pay for it, and I will mention your name, right?
Yep.
It's just another way. There is a solution for everything, right? Everything. And
you are
as
so
we
right.
open our mind, we can find it. So what other questions do we have? And hopefully everybody saw the link in there. Get signed up. There's no pay, it's just the $500 for this 3-month course. So any other
Evelyn,
Yes.
welcome to Summer. She joined your program already. Congratulations, Summer. You're on your way.
You know what, Summer, it's so funny. You were the first person I think I messaged because I had a ping about you. You were like the person I was like, she needs to do this, because you're one of the people I think is going to have a very big voice in our field. Did we lose her? I think we did. Darn it.
Signed up and popped off.
She's
We'll
signed up
see
and popped up.
November 1st.
I'll have to message her. She's doing amazing things for early childhood education. So I'm super excited to have her. So we need to see, Stephanie, I would love to see you on stages. It would be amazing.
I really
Oh,
enjoy
she
it.
really would be. She is hilarious, Stephanie. I would love to see you on stage.
I really love sharing with people. I love presenting. So, but I've had to set that aside for the last few years, but that's why I popped on. I'm like, oh, maybe it's time.
Maybe it's time. Yeah. I mean, yes, definitely. We can start with the Childcare Business Summit.
So
Yay.
is there like a deadline or a certain number that you're closing off for this? So I know, so that I can kind of tell my people to be like, hey, you know, I need to kind of get this set up so that we can get that going. So
I haven't thought of a number to cap it. And again, you guys, this is like so quick for me. I just, here's something, and some of the things I will teach you guys too, because I'm going to help you completely change your perspective on things, is when you get things like this that happen, right? You just start trusting, and you know, I am meant to do this. And so because of that, I haven't thought it through yet. Am I going to cap this at a certain amount of people? Right now, I know we counted over 200 people that we're in conversation with. So I don't know, to be honest.
Okay.
I think we're going to keep it open and see. This is our first trial run, which is why it's only 500. Since it's our trial run, we'll have to see. We're going to wait and see. And Mandy, when should we close off? What do you think? And Christina?
I think that we should, I mean, hopefully everybody would start on the 1st with us. So by the 30th, as long as everybody's in by the 30th, we can get started on the 1st, because we don't really have materials that we have to send out or do anything ahead of time. So, but I would like everybody to start together. So let's say the 30th. And
I would say the 29th, which gives me the 30th to get emails out to
That's a good
everybody,
idea.
because we have
Yeah.
different time zones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
cool. That gives me an idea.
Yeah. Summer says, to me, $500 is a no brainer. That's why I did it at $500. I totally agree, Summer. $500, it's a no brainer. That's why I kind of wanted this introductory one to be just like almost giving it away, right? Because it's just, $500 to start a career that can make you thousands is huge. So definitely.
One thing I want to say, not speaking for Evelyn, but is I saw somebody say they want to make sure they have dates clear. One thing, we want to keep this as a cohort because this is such a personal sort of journey. So you want to stay in a cohort, but like she said, it will be recorded. And because, and this is the part I don't want to speak for Evelyn, but this has happened so quickly. Don't know when it's going to happen again. And so, like Stephanie said, this is something I want to do. This is intellectual property you are gaining. If you don't put it into place during the 3 months, if you don't put it into place until it's your 2025 plan or 26 or whatever, you want to do your future self a favor and get the knowledge in.
Mhm.
So if
Yeah.
it's something you're thinking about and you can swing it financially and you know, whatever, but you're just not ready, like this is one thing that you can just jump into and then, you know what you're dealing with as you're moving forward as a speaker.
Mhm.
So that when the opportunity comes to speak on a stage, you can say yes because you have your contract ready, your insurance ready, and your game plan.
Rather thinking it to be this like thing that you can't achieve if you're in a certain position, I like to see my life as I have built up a social following and I have a certain amount of people I can reach out to that can help me open that door. And then in turn, it just will continue to grow because I have such a passion for speaking and I have such a passion for this. And I think if you have that mindset of like, oh, I can't figure out a way, you're never going to figure out a way. So I make my life work for me. And I think that's what I wanted to say.
And that's a really big thing. We make our lives work for us, right? So yeah, we will have the recordings. I probably will give you guys accountability partners, things like that. So you still feel like you're a part of it and that you don't feel left out. So yes.
I will get on top of that.
Yeah. Any more questions? I cannot wait to see. I know Shalyn, you're in, Summer's in. I saw a couple more in there.
Gabrielle said that.
Gabrielle's in. I know Tara is in. Nice. I'm so excited for you guys. I'm just so excited to do this too. It felt so natural and so right to do this. So I'm excited.
We also have more people that were messaging me while we were live that weren't able to jump on. So there's a lot of people that are really interested in this. So this is going to be fun. It's
going to be fun. Absolutely. Definitely. So I hope to see more of you. And I know with the time zone, we have people jumping on now. I think time zones just confuse people. But if you missed it, we will be sending out the recordings and we're just sending them out to everybody anyway. So you guys, even if you were here, you'll probably get the recording of this Zoom.
Anyone who registered, I'll send the recording and the link to look at further information is childcarebusinessprofessionals.com/value your voice.
Yeah. Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you, Evelyn. This was wonderful. Thank you so much for always sharing your wealth and knowledge and experience and being such a good mentor. Thank you so much.
Karina.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Evelyn.
Thank you, everybody. Well, thank you so much, everybody. We will respect your time and give you your 5 minutes back. We've got 5 minutes left, but we will just respect your time. And again, just message. I've been in conversation with many of you anyway. So message me if you guys have any questions or Christina or Mandy. And I cannot wait to see you guys starting November 1st. We'll see you there.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.